Hello, my name is Maverick, Bowleg, and today my presentation is on ratio analysis for my Finance381. So I'm a loan officer, and my job is to analyze 4 companies and determine 3 questions. 1, which company would I extend a short-term loan to, preferably 6 months? 2, which company would I extend a long-term loan to, preferably 5 years? And 3, which company would I invest in or buy equity? The 4 companies I chose were Coca-Cola, Walmart, Johnson Outdoor Corporations, and Charter Communications. So to answer number 1, which company would I extend a short-term loan to? I looked at the liquidity ratios, or how fast can a company convert the current assets into cash. There are 3 liquidity ratios: the cash ratio, which is cash divided by current liabilities; the current ratio, current assets divided by current liabilities; and the quick ratio, current assets minus inventory divided by current liabilities. Quick ratio is considered the most consistent ratio for short-term solvency. So let's look at the cash ratio. As we can see, of the 4 companies, Johnson Outdoor Corporation seems to be the only company that can cover its current liabilities by only using cash. The current ratio, Coca-Cola is doing a much better job, having 4 years out of 5 being able to cover its current liabilities. Walmart, however, increases, but has not reached 1, peaking at 0.97 in 2015. Johnson Outdoor Corporation has the highest at 3.28. Let's look at the quick ratio, more important one. Coca-Cola is doing okay. The ratio shows that Walmart and Charter doesn't seem to be liquid companies. Johnson Outdoor, however, they are progressively and continuously having over 1, the highest being 1.91 in 2014. So to answer my first question, who would receive my short-term loan? My decision was Johnson Outdoor Corporation. Why? Because each of its liquidity ratios topped over 1. At some point over the 5-year period, it has the highest current ratio in 2014, which shows they converted $3.28 into cash for every dollar that they borrowed. The quick ratio was consistently above 1, the highest being 1.91 in 2014. Its cash ratio reaches 1 on multiple occasions, the highest being 1.18. Coca-Cola would be my next best choice to extend a short-term loan to. Number 2, which company would I extend a long-term loan to? For this, I looked at 2 ratios: the equity multiplier, which measures leverage or risk. The equation is assets over equity. The higher the equity multiplier, the more debt the company has. So companies would want a low equity multiplier. The second ratio I looked at was the cash coverage. Normally people would use the time interest earn ratio, which is EBIT divided by interest. However, I use the cash coverage ratio because depreciation is a non-cash flow expense. The calculation of cash coverage is EBIT plus depreciation divided by interest. This explains the ability of a company to cover its interest obligations. So let's look at the cash coverage ratio for the 4 companies. As we can see, each of the 4 companies are able to cover their interest obligations. Coca-Cola is doing the best job, as we can see, followed by Walmart. It's equity multiplier for the 4 companies. Remember, we want this as low as possible. As we can see, Coca-Cola and Walmart seems to be doing a fine job giving each other competition. In 2015, Coca-Cola had a slight increase over Walmart. Charter, on the other hand, seems to be doing a poor job, borrowing lots of money. As the years go by, they continue to increase the amount that they borrowed, having a 637 equity multiplier in 2015. Johnson Outdoor Corporation has the lowest equity multiplier throughout the 5-year term. So to answer my second question of who receives a long-term loan, my decision was Coca-Cola. This is because they had the highest average values in cash coverage, and they also had a low equity multiplier. This shows that they're able to cover their interest obligations while doing it in little amounts of borrowing. Johnson Outdoor Incorporations, followed by Walmart, was my next best options because they too can cover their interest obligations while having low equity multipliers. So the final question was, who should I invest in? For this, I was looking at two main questions of how profitable a company is and how are these profits made. Is it by risk, as we can see what Charter did in the previous slide, or is it by how they manage their asset efficiency? For this, I'm looking at four different ratios: the profit margin, which is net income divided by sales; total asset turnover, which is sales divided by its assets. This ratio measures asset efficiency. The return on assets, which is net income divided by assets. This ratio tells how profitable a company is relative to its total assets. On this side, we have the return on equity, which is net income divided by equity. Return on equity also can be broken down into return on assets divided by equity multiplier, as seen from the previous slide. Return on equity is the single most important accounting ratio. It tells how much a company makes for shareholders, given how much the shareholders invested into that company. So let's look at the profit margin. As we can see, Coca-Cola is doing the best job as generating most of its income based on sales, having an average of 19.78 over the 5-year period. Walmart and Johnson Outdoor Corporation also has a positive profit margin. Charter, however, is generating negative profit margins. But as the years progress, they are decreasing the amount of negative profit margin they have. Let's look at total asset turnover. Coca-Cola isn't doing a fine job, or as expected. However, Walmart, on the other hand, seems to be the most efficient in assets usage to sales, having a stable amount at 2.3 to 2.4. Johnson Outdoor Corporation also has a positive total asset turnover. Return on assets, as we can see over the four companies, Coca-Cola leading the board, having an average return on assets at 9.56. Walmart closely follows with an average return on assets of 8.43 over the 5-year period. Johnson Outdoor Corporation also has a positive average of 6.22. Charter Communication, as once again, is seen to be in the negative. However, as the years progress, they are getting closer to zero, and in turn, we should be seeing them having positive numbers. Return on equity, as we said before, we want this number to be high because it is how much is given back to the shareholders given how much they invested into the company. So Coca-Cola, as can be seen, has the highest return on equity. Walmart also doing a good job, having stable amounts. Johnson Outdoor Corporation had a head start actually in 2011, which increased their average return on equity, but they also have positive numbers. As said before, return on equity can be broken down into return on assets times equity multiplier, which measures debt. So what I did was I incorporated and compared the return on equity compared to the amount that they borrowed, which is, as we can see in the blue parentheses, Coca-Cola and Walmart having stiff competition, borrowed little amount of money compared to their return on equity. Charter, as we can see, why they are in negative, because they borrow large amounts of money. Johnson Outdoor Corporation, having a positive return on equity, borrowed the least amount, as we can see in parentheses. So to answer my final question of who should I invest